is Catherine and welcome to my channel. This is the last part or the last video where I will be talking about my experience running the Amsterdam Marathon this year, so in 2023. The marathon itself happened on the 15th of October. It was my first marathon. It was a marathon where I managed to get a very good time of 3 hours, 28 minutes and 11 seconds. And if you want to know everything about the race day itself, about the training that actually got me to these results, then I will link down below all of the videos that I have made so far in this series. There are exactly 2. But what I want to talk in this video about is a topic that might be interesting for you if you are considering maybe what should be your first marathon, or if you generally are interested in the Amsterdam Marathon itself. I would just like to share with you the experience of me participating in this marathon, like whether I would recommend it and what are kind of the tips that I would give you if you decide to join. So as I mentioned, this is a autumn marathon, so it is really good in terms of the temperatures because it's not too warm, but it's also not too cool. Talking about the weather, this I think is one of the biggest disadvantages of running in Amsterdam, is that Netherlands weather is simply unpredictable. So for example, my experience was that we experienced hail, we experienced rain, but we also experienced sun. So it is really up and down, and it is definitely something to consider if you are planning to join. But let me run you through a couple of other things to consider maybe during your decision process. So first of all, what is the price? So I think you will be interested in the price for next year. So I have checked the website. The prices are already available and they are about 120 euros for the marathon. During the same day, if you are not feeling to do like the whole marathon, you can also sign up just for the half marathon, which is of course cheaper. Then there are a lot of add-ons you can add to your purchase. Already what's included in the price is everything regarding kind of the clothing drop-off. There's also a complimentary t-shirt. So this year the sponsor was Mizuno. So we got kind of a bluish t-shirt, you know, like a sports t-shirt. Nothing extra, but you know, it's a nice kind of piece of memory that you're going to take away from there, and then you don't have to end up buying it at the running expo. So this is the difference between the half marathon and marathon in terms of what you are getting, because for the half marathon you're not getting the t-shirt. At least that's how it was last year. In terms of the attendance, I believe that the attendance for the marathon is around 22.5k people, which is a lot of people for the arena, for the main arena, because what I think is the main advantage of this race is that you're actually starting at an Olympic stadium, if you are amongst the lucky ones. Because of this big attendance, they actually have to split the starting waves. So most of the runners are starting at the Olympic Stadium, and then some start a couple meters away from the stadium, and then the 2 streams kind of join together in a couple of minutes. So it's nothing dramatic because all of the participants end in the Olympic Stadium, and honestly, I think that the end is more important than the start, but still the atmosphere at the stadium was really amazing. You know, you really felt like an athlete at the Olympic Games or something. So this is definitely something to consider, and I don't know if they do it randomly or based on the times that you submit, but I would assume that the first ones that buy the tickets, they get to be at the stadium, because I would say that that is a premium. I actually wonder why they don't charge for it. So that is the price, that is the attendance. I spoke briefly about the weather, so elaborating a little bit more on that. So when we arrived at the stadium the day of the race, you know, I was waiting for the Portaloo line, and suddenly it started hailing, and I was running in my Nike Vaporflies. If you know those shoes, they are completely made out of mesh. So I was wet in like 5 minutes. And you know, then you have to spend the whole marathon like being completely covered in water. So what I would actually recommend is to bring some waterproof clothing that you will be wearing prior to the race, and then just a couple minutes before the start to put it off, so that you can avoid getting wet before the race even starts. So that is one recommendation. Talking about portaloos, so like the portable toilets, there are many of them, but be prepared to wait, I would say like 10 minutes for them. which is not a big deal. Just make sure that you take that bit of time like in advance to be there prepared. I think that for most of the waves, because they split of course the race itself into different waves, you don't actually have a specific time before 9, because the race starts at 9 that you have to be there. I think it's okay if you are there at 9, but for the first 2 waves I believe you have to be there a couple minutes in advance. I was in the third wave, so in the orange one, and there were no limitations, so at 9 that was okay. In terms of like any of your support, so maybe your parents, your friends that come and support you, they have free entrance to the stadium, so they can come, they can sit, and they can watch the whole start. Which the start, I think they do it in a very nice way, so each wave has actually a shot out of the gun, so each wave is as if it was a completely new start. Of course, like the time is not reset, but still it is, you really get that kind of racing experience with this. So that is definitely good. In terms of checks, I think that a lot of people might, slip into different zones, because there are no like checks, like they are not checking everyone's bib number to see like, hey, are you in the orange one? Are you in the pink one, etc. So it is very kind of, you have the liberty to basically change the zones if you want. I would not recommend it. I don't think it's something advisable, and they might just that 1 year check it. So get into your wave. In terms of the running expo, so the place where you go and pick up your bib number, so I went there on Friday, which was 2 days before the race, in the morning actually, so the expo was pretty empty. It was well organized, so there were many stalls, and I think I got my bib number in like 5 minutes, and then separately you went and picked up your t-shirt, which was done in like 5 minutes as well, and there was a possibility to actually change your size, which I find very good, because then you don't suffer having a t-shirt that is either too big or too large. And then from then, before you exit, you need to pass through the running expo, where you have all of the different vendors, selling stuff. In terms of the different brands that were there, of course, Mizuno, since it was the main sponsor of the event, had like a huge booth there. They actually made a limited edition shoes for this race, so they were selling it there. You could try it. They had many samples that you could run around in the expo and just kind of feel whether the shoe is right for you. I believe that there was a Dutch-based sports shop that was selling shoes at like 10% discount, and they had like the fast model, so they also had Nike Vaporflies, even the new color, the teal one. So you can get some good deals. They also had Gooder sunglasses, which are very hard to find here in Europe, so I actually snagged a pair of those. And then there were all different companies selling gels and bars. So there was Cliff Bar, there was the Noon sports nutrition drinks for electrolytes, then there was Compress Sport, Asics. Yeah, like really a good selection. So I think that you can spend quite a bit of money there. But it wasn't too overcrowded, so I like that. But I can only speak for Friday. I believe that Saturday and Sunday will be much more crowded, so I would recommend, if you can, to arrive early to the expo. In terms of transport to and from the stadium, depending on where you live, I would highly recommend doing the public transport, but just bear in mind that a lot of people are going to be using the same buses as you, most likely, unless you are living in a very untraditional area where there are no hotels or Airbnbs. But still, I would take into consideration that you might not actually get into the first bus, because we were going from the airport, and the first bus that came was full. No one from that stop could actually fit into the bus, and that gave me a lot of stress. So if you can avoid that and either go with like the earlier bus, or always have like 2-3 different like alternatives that you're going to take, that's definitely going to be good, because I think that the Bolt from the airport was like 40 euros, so it was quite expensive. And if you don't want to spend those additional costs, then highly recommend going in early. Then I think that what is very important is that Amsterdam is touted as being a very good marathon for beginners, and I can highly agree with that, mainly due to the fact that the course is very flat. I will put the course profile here on the screen, and as you can see, the elevation doesn't exceed, I think, like 5 to 10 meters. So overall the race is very flat. Towards the end there are even some downhills. So during the race I found it very like easy in terms of the profile. And also when there was like a small uphill, then it was always followed by a small downhill, so that gave you time to kind of recoup before continuing. And also I felt like we were not, you know, bumping into each other with the other participants. So really good. In terms of the atmosphere, very good. What I liked is that they put actually your name on your bib number, so people from around you can really scream at you even if they don't know you, and they kind of support you, which I found super interesting. And actually there were people that were also supporting me, and it felt incredibly nice, especially towards the end when you are really just, you know, you had enough and you want to finish. In terms of the scenery, highly recommend. Like, I think that if you manage to not only concentrate on the running itself, on the paces and everything, this race is really beautiful. So you pass actually through Wandel Park, which is a beautiful park, kind of not on the outskirts, but you know, it's not in the deaf center of Amsterdam, it's a little bit further away. So we pass through that whole park, and you also finish through that park. Then you pass by Rijksmuseum, so a museum that has a lot of like the big paintings, including Van Gogh. It's very actually close to the Van Gogh Museum. Then you also pass by kind of a more outskirts part of Amsterdam where there are some windmills, and you go alongside the river. It's very nice. The scenery is simply stunning. And then you return. So there are parts where you're actually going the same way as you went on the way out. You return the same way, so it is a little bit repetitive, but because, you know, that might have been like 3 hours ago, I really didn't mind it. Then fueling stations, they were around 5 kilometers apart. Almost every station had water, an ISO drink, and bananas, and also sponges. So I felt like they were distributed pretty evenly. In terms of what you can also add on to your price, it's photos. So the photos are kind of hit and miss, like it depends on if you were lucky or not. I bought this package and I'm happy with the photos, though I highly don't recommend buying the video. The video sucks, the quality is terrible. They put like little stickers and overlay. I can actually insert a short clip from what they gave me, and I just don't think it's worth the price really. So I would not bother with that. But what I would pay for is the metal engraving. They really had a good system. So once you finish the race, you got like a little plastic cover sheet, which I'm sad that it wasn't like made from aluminum, which would actually keep me warm for longer. But then you also had your medal, and when you exited the arena, you got a choice of an ISO drink. So either you got like a whole bottle, or then there were cups with water, and also one full banana. And from there you just went to the medal engraving station, where from one side it was the intake process. You just gave them your name, your medal, and then from the other side you would pick it up. So it wasn't very crowded, it went very quickly. I think that I managed to get my medal engraved in like 5 minutes. So super quick and super well organized. That's it. So what I would say is I highly recommend Amsterdam for beginners, or for anyone who wants a nice, easy marathon, if marathon can be easy. It's definitely a place to do a PB, for example. And actually the reservations opened on 30th of October. So if you're interested, definitely go and check it out, and I'm sure you will be very pleased. So that concludes my whole Amsterdam series. I'm very happy to finally move on to other topics. And if you like this video, if you enjoyed it, please give me a like. If you want to follow me along for tips, to see kind of my journey becoming a better marathon runner, then please give me a subscribe. And if you have participated in Amsterdam Marathon, or are you planning to actually participate next year, then I will be very happy if you put down a comment. If you have any questions about the experience, or you want to know something about like what I didn't talk about, then definitely put those questions in, and I will try to respond to all of them. So thanks again for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!